Welcome back to the MBP Movie Podcast. This week we'll be talking about John Carpenter's They Live.
Take a look! So, They Live, from my favourite director, John Carpenter. Absolute classic film from the 80s. So,
Yeah.
What are your early memories of They Live?
To be honest, I can't remember the first time I watched it. I know it had been a long time until recently, and I watched this again the other night, but I'd watched it literally about within last month or something, but you know what my memory's like, I still have to watch it again. But I can't remember when I first watched it at all.
I remember Dad taped it, and he also taped Hell Comes to Frogtown, the Rowdy Piper film.
I need to watch that again. I know it's probably going to be awful, but I really want to watch it again.
But I remember we had those, because that's the one where he's got the bomb strapped to his neck.
Yeah. There's some really freaky looking things in it.
Yeah,
or frogs, I guess.
Yeah. We were obviously massive WWF wrestling fans back in the day, weren't we? Well, more so than you later, but...
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And I was always a fan of Roddy Piper. I thought he was a great character.
So I heard somebody say the other day he was a great heel, but I don't ever remember his.
He was more a heel in the early 80s when he feuded with Hulk Hogan.
Right.
That's like one of the best wrestling feuds of all time.
Yeah, because they were talking about when he went to WCW and they said he was a good guy then, and that's when he came up against NWA, because it's like who could stop Hulk Hogan, and Roddy Piper never beat Roddy in WWE.
They actually never, neither of them pinned each other. They won't lose to each other, and maybe there's like... And that's why the first WrestleMania, the main event wasn't Hogan-Roddy, it was Hogan, Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff. Hogan could pin Orndorff basically without pinning one of those
Did they not get on or something now?
In the early days, no. I think they didn't trust each other. That was the problem. And everyone was vying for the top spot, and Hulk Hogan had the top spot, so he's not going to want to lose his belt, is he?
Yeah.
So there was all that sort of thing. And obviously you get to WrestleMania 3 and Roddy Piper retired. And then he...
Well, funny enough, do you know that's why John Carpenter met him?
Yeah, I knew that, yeah. I was going to mention that, but... But yeah, so early memories for me were watching it as a kid, and obviously a big wrestling fan, so we could probably get into the background. I've just mentioned that. So Roddy retired at WrestleMania 3 and then went into acting.
Yeah.
And this was his first movie, I think. I don't think he'd done anything before that, had he?
I don't think so, no.
At least nothing, maybe not... He might have done a film that was connected to wrestling, maybe.
Yeah, I have got a bit of background. Do you know it's based on a short film called 8 O'Clock in the Morning?
It's a short story, isn't it?
Short story, sorry, not a short film.
Because he was also adapted into a comic, I think, wasn't he? And Carpenter bought the rights to all of it.
I'm not sure. I just know it's a similar thing, but he goes to see a hypnotist, and the hypnotist pulls him out of being hypnotised, but he fully awakens him, and that's how he sees these creatures and whatever they are. So going back to talking about WrestleMania and meeting him there, and he said he cast him because he said he seemed like a guy who looked like he lived life and stuff as well.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
I mean, he was an orphan. He was involved in car crashes. He's been electrocuted. He's been involved in a plane crash. I mean, the guy's had some issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he looks like that kind of guy. He kind of looks like your everyday person.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Yeah. Quite a big guy though. I don't think you realize how big he is.
No, I think probably because in wrestling terms you had Hulk Hogan was absolutely huge one. He's
probably about the same size as Bret Hart though.
Yeah,
and he's about 6'2".
I think they always look small against them much bigger guys, but they're not. Well, if you met them in real life, they're really badly. But yeah, so do you want to go into your likes or?
Well, I'll just start from off the bat with the music because I love John Carpenter. It had a bit of a blues vibe to it.
Yeah, I mean, I've wrote the same thing. I kind of almost feel like it's got a neo-Western vibe as well. I don't even know if
I agree with you, well, to be honest with you, John Carpenter always said he always wanted to make Westerns, and I think this is very much a Western.
Yeah.
Obviously set in a science fiction.
Totally understand what you're saying.
And I think we need to credit Alan Howarth as well, who was worked on the music with Carpenter.
Well, I didn't even know, that he worked until you mentioned the other day. I
mean, Halloween 2, The Fog, Halloween 3, and then Alan Howarth actually went off and did some of the other Halloween sequels on his own and stuff.
Yeah.
So that obviously just the presence of Roddy Piper in the film, I think he's a fantastic lead.
I think he's really good. I know I heard about some critics sort of slagging off the acting, but I think they're completely wrong, especially about him. And I think a lot of when we use actors, I notice a lot of the mannerisms that when we've done the acting in our films, then we've got people to come on who are good at acting. You see him pull them faces, and I think that's got a lot to do with your performance, and I think he does that really, really well.
Well, I think when you look back at the wrestling and you look at all the wrestlers, he kind of had something about him, Roddy Piper, that would work for the screen.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, wrestling's it's acting.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's all acting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not one of these people who slags it off either because those guys put their lives at risk for doing this sort of stuff. Yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, I think he's really good in it.
Yeah. Do you want to go in? Do you want to? Should we just swing back and forth rather than going through one at a time?
Yeah. I was also going to say about the music. It sort of goes a little bit more sim style, more towards the end.
Yeah, when it gets
that's my favourite sort of Carpenter music. I love that sort of stuff.
It gets a bit more sci-fi as it goes on, though, doesn't it? Like when it delves further into the.
Yeah. And I think one of the bits that made me laugh the most in this film was where he looks at the money and it said, "This is your God," and I thought that is so true.
It's so good.
I mean, I don't really look into the politics of the film, but you can see the message quite clear that John Carpenter was putting into this, and he wasn't just him; it was there before in this story. All that about a beer, that's straight from that.
Kind of feels like this film's kind of never been more relevant than today as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it is very relevant today. It's all about like, is it commercialism? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
So
consumerism, commercialism, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So it's all that kind of thing where people who want to buy the latest iPhone, this is kind of what that's getting at. Why you want to buy the latest iPhone because of the way they advertise and all that sort of stuff. But even taking that completely out of the way, because I tend to not. That doesn't sort of make me dislike the film. I like the film. I like the kind of B sci-fi movie that it kind of comes. But
I think that's where John Carpenter works best when he's not got as much, because Big Trouble in China was a bit of a bomb before. I mean,
and this came after, didn't it? And it also was that where he didn't want to do any more Hollywood films, so he went back to low budget. Because I've heard some people comment about the low budget, but I really like that.
I do. I think Carpenter's got. I mean, look at Halloween. I mean, that was one of the cheapest films ever made, and it was massive. And it's because it's so simple. And I think sometimes with directors, when they start getting big and start getting money, the creativity goes a bit.
I totally agree with you.
I think James Cameron was better when he did like Terminator and Aliens compared to when he does T2 and he's got a lot more money.
We've talked a lot about Canon films recently, and we were talking about Bloodsport last week. I mean, look how much that £1 million.
It was so simple, wasn't it?
It made 13 million just in US alone. So that's a massive hit.
Yeah,
so it's turning over its money.
But going back to like the scene where he actually discovers the aliens or whatever they are, that bit's fantastic. I think that is one of the best scenes in the film, and it's funny as well because when I love already, but normally people will be shocked. He sort of just goes, "Oh, so I guess this is how it is," or something, doesn't it? Oh, I figured it'd be something like this. He says,
"Yeah."
And then he's having got that woman. He's like, "I look at you, you look normal." Then look, put these on, real effing ugly.
Well, I think that was the way they did that with the glasses as well. That was a very old technique. He said in the interview, where he said it's like the simplest technique you can do it. Says but I actually think it just looks really good, and the way you see it go from colour and the glasses are coming down to do all
which
that.
I think a lot of that was matte paintings,
and that's way before CGI.
Yeah, when it matte paintings. Yeah, right. Yeah,
and
they look fantastic, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I we've discussed before. I love matte paintings. I think they're great.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. The look. I actually heard the look. They chose the look of make them look like ghouls on purpose because they wanted them to look.
Yeah, I think he said something about it was sort of how they were sort of bad on the outside and nasty on the inside kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
All to do with that. Yeah. So there's definitely some thought process in it. The last thing I wrote about was actually Roddy Piper, so we discussed that. But I'd also give props to the guy Keith David.
I think he's got the strongest performance in the film, to be honest. Yeah,
I really like him, and I kept thinking, what did I see him? And they were looking at him, and I was like, oh god, the thing.
He was in Community season 6,
Was it?
Yeah.
Everything I've seen him in, I've really liked.
Yeah, well, it's great in The Thing as well. He's just really likeable, isn't he? He's one of them actors, and I think he's kind of an everyman, isn't he?
And speaking of actors, did you notice the guy who's like the bum guy is the bum guy from...
Yeah. I like when he gets rich, though.
Yeah, and he's right smart. Evidently, I think he's been in a lot of John Carpenter movies as well.
Yeah.
I think it might have been him who's been in a lot of them after, since that.
He's in John Carpenter's Body Bags, and he plays a bum in that as well.
Does he?
Yeah.
Maybe it's on his CV. He plays a great bum. Yeah,
but he smartened up well, didn't he, when he was smart?
It was really strange to see him like that, yeah.
And he's like, "See you, boys," with this face on the watch and stuff. I was going to say, I love the fight scene between Roddy Piper and Keith David.
I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I'll go into a bit of trivia about that later, but I love it. It is long, but I like it.
6 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it's quite a long fight.
It feels so real, like when he hits his head on the floor, that bit, you feel it. Yeah, you know, you feel every man. They obviously put some wrestling moves in because of Roddy Piper.
I think my favourite bit of the fight was where he goes to hit him with the plank of wood and he hits the car and then he realises and he laughs and he's like, I've gone too far here. It's like, yeah, I think you have.
But then they obviously makes him wear the shades and then he's like, afterwards he's like, he realises, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And you're almost like, you didn't really need to have that fight, did you? Because that bit always made me laugh, you know, when they walk back to the... And they're all bruised up and they're walking back to that motel.
Well, do you know what I really like about that? When they're walking back, they've just got lumps on the face. When they get into the hotel room, it's sort of as if the as they're walking down the street, the lumps on the face. But as they go into the hotel, all the cuts are worse and everything. It's like all the bruising's come out.
They've gone in scene next day though, aren't they?
That's the way it works, and that's movies. So do you actually have any dislikes?
No.
No, I don't. I've got none at all. The only thing I wanted to ask you about
I can tell you something my dad said. It's not really a dislike, but you know the scene where they are walking back to the thing? He said you can tell Roddy Piper's not been acting long because his acting's not quite as good as the other guys.
Yeah.
And my dad liked this film, didn't he? He thought it was a good film.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great to have great acting and great directing and stuff, but they don't always make the most enjoyable films. Then you get that. I think sometimes
I actually wanted to point out
something different.
Oliver Harper said about... on his retrospective, he said he thought the end was a bit anticlimactic, but I don't really feel that way.
I kind of know what it means because
I know what it means.
It feels almost like it's building up to a big end, and then you don't have that big end. But it never bothered me.
But then obviously Keith David gets killed quite.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shock, isn't it?
To be honest, I watched it a month ago, and I remember being shocked at the time, but when I watched it again, I forgot.
Did you?
Unbelievably that she'd shot. Because I listened to another podcast when they were talking about it, and they said they didn't know if he really did, but there's the gunshot.
Yeah, he's dead, yeah.
So it's obvious he's
There was
dead.
always talk about doing a sequel, wasn't there? And he could have had Roddy Piper could have survived. He got shot. He didn't...
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be that he's dead at the end.
Oh, yeah.
I also like that because that was one of the things I was going to ask you about. I personally like that because I think it makes it a bit different to Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I'm going to go into this, I think, later on about well, I'll go into it now.
Well, let's not go to trivia yet. I want to talk about...
I think when it comes to Hollywood stuff, John Carpenter wants to move away from that.
I agree. Stuff, he wants to do. Well, have you ever seen Prince of Darkness? That's a bit of a macabre film, and it doesn't.
Yeah, I think I have.
It's got a bit of a trippy ending, really.
Right.
That film. Something I wanted to just point out. Meg Foster. Do you think she's bad the whole time? Even from the start, not bad, but with the aliens.
I think so. Yeah, I think what's happened.
She's living a luxury life, isn't she?
Yeah, she's you know, like the bum guy who and he's smartened up, and she's living that life already. And you know, I wanted to ask you a question: Would you have sided with the aliens? Because I think, to be honest, I probably would have done.
Yeah, I was thinking
I'd have just lived a life of luxury.
Because at the end of the day, what's
do what they want.
What's lifespan of us? Like 60, 70 years, right? You might as well just live it in luxury, hadn't you?
That's what I thought.
I love all the stuff like with the TV when they're doing, you know, they're trying to put the transmission through to get.
And
it's like our air's becoming their air and things.
I think that's the only bit that don't look like a movie. It looks more like a TV
I know what you mean.
thing.
But he's saying like, he's like, our air is becoming their air, and it makes me think like of like pollution and stuff. And it's like pollution's happening, so they can convert the planet into their planet. Right, things like that. I'm trying to think of what else before we move on. I don't want to miss anything out.
Well, I have got some thoughts before we move on to anything else, but I wrote here that I didn't remember returning on him and killing when I watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that was how, and I was still shocked this time when she killed him, because it's quite like just boom.
Yeah.
What? That's another thing, you wouldn't have seen that back in that day. I don't think.
No.
Especially a woman with a gun and killing somebody. I mean, I might be wrong. Somebody else should probably comment below. Like, you didn't see this, but I don't think that was certainly the norm anyway. Did you notice the Ghostbusters prop?
No.
The little communicator things they use. It's from Ghostbusters.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't notice
the little prongs that come up and the little lights. Yeah, because a few people have mentioned it as not being something the lights, because it looks.
You know
the
scene I always remember this. This is the one thing I always remember as film as a kid. Was the end where she's having sex with him and it's like, what's the problem, baby? And he's like, I absolutely love that scene.
Well, somebody were mentioning that. They usually say, you know, when it comes to ratings, they usually do, if they're going to do a boob shot, they do it at the beginning of the film.
And
then they'll leave it, and then it's like the rating, they'll be like, forgive me, but they actually left it to the end in this.
They do look really freaky though, don't they?
They do, they look really good. I like the eyes as well, the way you can see them stuck out. Just think it's a really, really enjoyable film. So have you got anything else before I move on to box office?
Well, I'll wait till we rate it. I'll ask you before we rate it. I want to ask you something, but it's probably better to wait till we rate it.
Okay. So in terms of box offices, we were discussing about kind of films and stuff. This was at a $4 million budget and it grossed just in America alone $13 million.
That's really good.
So there you go. I think it didn't come out in the UK till 7 months later, but I couldn't find any figures.
Isn't that a cheaper budget than Bloodsport?
No, Bloodsport had a $1 million.
Oh, was it $1 million? Right, sorry.
$1.1 million, yeah. So I'm just going to move on to
So you don't know what it did worldwide?
I couldn't find anything.
Right, okay.
I don't know whether it... I guess, to be honest, if it was 4 million with 13 million, then it's already a success in America alone. So I think worldwide it was probably similar. It was classed as successful. So The Line, I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass and a lot of bubblegum.
Yeah.
That was not in the original script. That was given to John Carpenter by Roddy Piper.
I heard about this.
Yeah, he had loads of wrestling lines.
Yeah,
he gave him and John Carpenter like... That is an amazing line. That's going in the film.
Have you ever seen his promos as a wrestler? Even when his promos are fantastic. He's one of the best talkers in the business.
He's one of the best. Yeah. They said he was really good at when he was a heel as well at riling people up. Definitely, I heard he used to go into if he went to a restaurant or a cafe or anything, he used to go straight up to the cook and pay him $20 not to spit in his food because he was that hated. So
see, they could have spied anyway.
Yeah.
Going back to the wrestling thing. I think he had a segment called Piper's Pit, which was like a little talk show, and I think it's a testament to how good he was at talking that he got that gig, of Vincent Mann giving that gig. Yeah. And on one of them, he actually hit Jimmy Snuka over the head of a coconut, and Jimmy Snuka was gonna kill him.
Yeah, wasn't he one of you was not supposed to mess about if he didn't?
Yeah, apparently,
yeah. So, and this is what we're going into before. John Carpenter wanted a different style of fight to a normal 80s action hero. Because you would find they would hit somebody and they'd go down.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
You know, you would find
and he probably knew how to take care of himself, Roddy Piper, yeah.
Yeah, and especially in the 80s. I think Jackie Chan kind of changed how fighting in Hollywood turns now.
Yeah, probably,
because especially if you look at something like Bourne films. It's more intricate and stuff like that. And
I kind of think it's going back the other way a little bit now.
Yeah, I think you could be like,
there's a mix of everything now. There's a mix of everything, yeah.
But so he wanted it to be different rather than, the shoot through people with guns. Yeah, he wanted it to be like, somebody getting on top, then the other one gets on top.
See, I'm not going to end the podcast, but I got really annoyed at this certain podcast when they said John Carpenter wasn't a genius, and I think just what you're saying about this film now shows that he was quite ahead of his time as well.
I think that's quite easy to say something. I think a lot of people don't realise how difficult it is to make a film.
Yeah,
we know because we make them. And you probably don't realise how much goes into it until you start looking into these things. And when you look into these things, you realise you might think somebody's made a really bad film, and there are bad films, but that don't mean they didn't put a lot of effort into making that.
Well, I was saying you really want to, because I'm not a huge fan of the Rob Zombie Halloweens, but those are his vision for those films, and he made his vision.
We don't like Avatar, but at the end of the day, I'm sure George Cameron worked really hard on that film.
James Cameron,
sorry. New director. James Cameron. And at the end of the day, that's one of the most successful... That is the most successful film of all time.
We're going to cover that one day, because I might rewatch it and maybe we'll see a new light.
I would like to, that's what I thought. Going back to the fight, I think on IMDb trivia I read that Roddy Piper choreographed this fight, but that's not true. It was evidently done in John Carpenter's... he had a backyard to the office. And there were Keith David, Roddy Piper, and Jeff Amada, who was a stunt choreographer, and they all come up with it.
Right, okay.
And he said John Carpenter, everybody had an input. So there you go. But just on Jeff Amada, he actually played most of the aliens in the film as well.
That's what I was going to say. Was that the same guy?
Yeah, he played most of the aliens.
It's funny because I always think with John Carpenter, he gets a lot of stick for being like, because he's happy to get a check for a film and stuff. He doesn't care. But he's quite humble. He'll turn around and give somebody credit if they've done something with his films and it's all them.
Yeah, totally.
That's exactly what he's like.
I don't actually know if this is true, because I don't know how
this isn't
Carpenter that Kurt Russell was originally going to be cast.
I don't think it's true. Because
I think if Carpenter wanted Kurt Russell, he'd just cast him.
Yeah, and another thing, but I could sort of see Kurt Russell in that role at the same time. However, I think because what you said are the things he was looking for, Kurt Russell wouldn't have met those, like the fighting style, and he wanted someone who could talk in a different way, didn't he?
Yeah,
was like Kurt Russell
agree. So, like I say, and I've not heard that mentioned. This is IMDb trivia, which most of what I've said isn't. Actually, I've had a lot of that corrected by watching interviews and stuff. But you also, you will do because you've watched Oliver Harper retrospective, but the guy listening might not know, in some places in Europe, the film was released as Invasion Los Angeles.
Yeah,
and I actually think that's a better title. I think it's a great title. But it also maybe...
But doesn't it downplay the fact that they're trying to take over the world a little bit?
Yeah, I suppose, but it is all happening in Los Angeles, and also the satellites in Los Angeles are destroyed, so if they're all over the world, there'll be satellites everywhere, won't there?
Well, what does they live mean then? They live among us type thing.
Yeah, actually, I guess so. Yeah,
Carpenter's a huge fan of like 50s sci-fi. Like,
it came from outer space. And the Body Snatchers. Yeah, I think that was a big influence on.
They Live is a very much one of those titles, isn't it? But it probably would have been like They Live Among Us or something like that back in the day. Yeah, so it's probably why he chose that title. So, do you think this is the best film starring a wrestler?
I don't think I've honestly seen enough.
I'm including The Rock in that.
The Rock. I'm just trying to think of The Rock's films off the top of my head. I don't know, because I thought the new Jumanji was absolutely fantastic.
But They Live is like a nostalgic classic for me. If you put them two in front of me,
I think it's probably a cult classic, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a cult classic.
Although it wasn't a bomb at the box office or anything, which usually that's where cult classics comes from. I think over the years, probably more people have watched it than did originally.
I know this was like his bounce back film, wasn't it? After Big Trouble in China bombed, so this was like a hit.
Yeah, he did Big Trouble in Little China.
Did he do Starman?
Prince of Darkness?
Yeah,
he did that. Yeah,
that was a relative hit, wasn't it?
This was the order. It was Big Trouble in Little China, then Prince of Darkness.
So was this? This must have been post Starman, because I think he called Starman his apology film for The Thing, because he got a lot of flack for The Thing, didn't he?
Well, that's one that it bombed, didn't it? But it's a great film.
Well, that's a classic now, isn't it? I think people would say that's his best film. A lot of people.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, what's his best film? And for me, my favourite film of John Carpenter is definitely Big Trouble in Little China. But in terms of his best film, probably The Thing.
We talked about like how he hasn't that podcast that said that he's backed into greatness, but he hasn't done great films. Halloween, that is like that is a top tier horror movie. That is like up there with The Exorcist and things like that, you know, as like gold standard for that genre. You know, The Thing is classed as a gold standard film.
I wouldn't agree with somebody saying that, because I think he's made some great films. For me, Big Trouble in Little China is one of the best movies of all time. I absolutely adore that movie. Halloween's a great movie. I think this is a great movie, and I mean, some people might not agree on that.
I think The
Fog is a brilliant John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, George Carpenter.
James Carpenter.
Just making people up.
So yeah, I think he is a very good director. I think Tarantino's a great director, but I don't think every film he's made is great. I wasn't personally a fan of Inglourious Bees.
Yeah. I think it was just called Inglourious on the adverts.
Yeah, I love. I think you might be right. I loved Pulp Fiction. I didn't like Jackie Brown. Do you know what I mean? So for me, whether you like all the films or don't like all the films, I think if they've made 2 or 3 great movies, then they know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
I think if they've made films that are well liked, that are liked by the majority, I think that's a big thing. Like Christopher Nolan makes films that are... I mean, I haven't watched Interstellar because I'm not really that interested in watching a 2 to 3 hour sci-fi.
Yeah, I kind of... I think it could be a slow film, and I'm in the mood for that now.
I'm not a big slow film fan. But like I say, he's another director I consider a great, and I think Carpenter belongs in that list. I mean, obviously, guys, like I think Spielberg probably stands on his own at the top of the mountain, and then I think there's...
Well, Steven Spielberg's not every movie he's made hasn't been great. It's like, do you know what I mean? What are you judging that on?
Exactly.
I don't understand. For me, Steven Spielberg is one of the greatest directors of all time.
He'd probably be the one I'd say is the greatest director.
I don't like every film he's made.
No, I don't either.
And I don't think every film he's made is great.
Speaking of not liking his films, John Carpenter don't like E.T., does he? He don't like family-friendly alien movies?
He don't. Yeah, he believes aliens should be the.
But I think that's because the films he watched as a kid were... Like, you know, Attack from Mars and all them kind of... I don't even know if that's a real film.
We're all massively influenced by what we watch, aren't we? And things around us, so that kind of totally makes sense.
Yeah, so back to They Live, what would you rate out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Oh, that's a bit lower than I thought.
As usual. I wrote that the other day, then I was just looking at it thinking, is it a 7.5, is it an 8? I don't really know.
For me...
7.5, yeah.
I'm going to give it a 9.
Oh yeah, well
I think it's that good.
Fair enough.
I can't we did Raiders last week and I couldn't find fault in it. I can't find fault in this.
No, I've got to admit I really like it. I think maybe Maybe because it's a cheaper budget, maybe that's what swayed me that way.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm not saying that in a negative way, because you don't make me like the film any less. I actually like the small budget on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think it's still a really good rating.
Yeah. And it's good length and all that, you know.
What else did I rate 7.5? I can't remember.
Black Panther, I think.
Oh, it was better than that. We'll bump it up to an 8. It's definitely an 8.
Yeah, an 8. There you go. I've got him up. But I think...
Bump it up to an 8.
I won't compare Black Panther to this because it's a different genre and stuff.
Yeah, it's completely different.
That was a 7.52 relative to films in that genre, wasn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Sorry.
He's struggling today.
Yeah, hiccups and all sorts. So that's us, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it for. So
if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, we're at MBP Movie Pod. You can subscribe on YouTube and leave a comment. You can email us at marshallbrosproductions@gmail.com, and please email us because we haven't got any emails yet, and I'm dying to get some emails. And is that it?
Yeah, if you want to ask a question about anything, I know we don't usually tell you what's coming up, so we might maybe look to do that going forward.
Yeah, and if you want to come on and have a go at us and say we're rubbish, tell us what we can improve on. We're happy to.
Yeah, don't tell us we're rubbish though.
Right, don't tell us we're rubbish,
but tell us what we can.
I'll be able to handle it. You what? So on that note, I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, but I'm all out of bubblegum. That's chewing gum. See ya.